Well, we were leaving Mr. Ellingson's place, in less than 150 feet from where he lives, right in the middle of the street, some giant potholes. There's some behind us and some in front of us. Let's drive up here back and look at them. See, the city won't even wipe its own nose, but it'll abuse older people in town and force them, terrorize them into giving them more money for their bureaucrat behavior. See, all the money is going for bureaucrat salaries. It's not going to actually do the work of the city. Now they have to force us to do everything. Here, let's see the loving potholes. Right here, folks. Here we are, just right down the road again, and look, they're telling him to mow his yard when his grass is 3 inches high and he hasn't mowed it, when this kind of stuff's going on. About a 6-inch deep pothole. And there's more down here. So ask yourselves, what kind of country is this? Well, that's the truth of it. All they do is harass the citizens, push the people around. We're losing more and more of our personal rights, and they're making despotic inroads into private property while at the same time not taking care of the essential services. You see, they dangle essential services in front of your head. Oh, you want the potholes filled? Oh, you want the EMS to have radios, don't you? See, they pay for the essentials last and pay for all their greed and strange bureaucratic behavior first. This isn't an attack at your average bureaucrats, government workers. I'm talking about the people that are under the control of our federal government that want to pay homage to them. In fact, that pothole could hurt somebody. We need to find out who's in charge of filling potholes. I don't mean the person that actually does it, but whoever's in the city, and they need to have their home taken, just like they're threatening Mr. Ellingson down the street.
Stay tuned right here for more classics.
This is what I live for.
Yeah!
I love Mike Hanson Archives.
Did you ready to run?
Oh yeah, we're gonna use that.
Well, hello, folks. This is Mike Hanson from Mike Hanson Archives. Start off by thanking Alex Jones for our great channel here on band.video. If you would like to help us support this station, please just look at that email Cami at this email address, or just give us a call and they can tell you how you can help us, either by donating for a t-shirt or a book, or if you just want to help out to get these great videotapes of Alex Jones in the 1990s up on the internet. That's my goal. Hope God lets me live another 30 years. That's how long it's going to take to get these thousands of tapes out. But what we got tonight is another special treat for you. I have once again, I found the master copy of the Roland Ellingston story that Alex did back in, I think it was 1997. About a man, the city was giving 2,000 a day fines for 2-inch grass and harassing him. And then we go out to the same people that are giving the tickets out to the health department, and their grass is even worse than his. So Alex exposes that, and it is just a great show. I'm getting ready to re-edit it, and it's going to be up for your enjoyment right after this. All right, like I say, let's go back to the future with Alex Jones in the 1990s. And we looked pretty good back then. I wish we could look that good these days. I'm working on it. It ain't easy. Alrighty, here we go, folks.
Maybe the fat cat neighbors don't like the good, hard-working neighbors. All right.
Well, you know, is there any...
Sir, can we just ask you a few words?
Sure.
What's your name?
I'm Michael.
Alex Jones, Michael. Do you ride through here quite often?
Every once in a while, yeah.
Well, this gentleman, he called my radio show, and we also have some little TV shows here in town. And I'm familiar with what the city does quite often, and I've been involved with cases like this before, where people own their own property and are law-abiding citizens. This isn't Russia or Nazi Germany, or maybe it is. It says Austin Health and Human Services, Travis County Health Department, Environmental Health Services Division. And if you read this here, it says, this is to inform you that a condition in violation of an ordinance or state law exists on the property located at 407th West 37th Street. And then down here it says, please mow and clear high grass. Well, look, he's cleared nothing. This grass is barely even watered. There's no problem here. If you go in the back, there's no rubbish, there's no nothing. And I'm shocked the city shouldn't even have that right. And they say that if he doesn't do what it says, objectionable material. Well, what is that? That's a nebulous thing that a bureaucrat can just magically, with a stroke of a pen, with no jury, just abuse people, in my opinion. And then down here it says, if you don't do what we say, there will be a privileged lien upon the land or premises.
What does that mean?
It means that a privileged lien means that they could go to a certain point where they can bulldoze the structure or take the structure for the good of the children.
Because he hasn't mowed his lawn?
Yes, because he hasn't mowed his lawn. That's what it says here. Please mow and clear high grass, weeds, and remove rubbish, trash, and remove objectionable material. Eliminate standing water. Well, the yard's bone dry. I think the city would love that. They tell us not to water. See, I'm a little bit confused. His yard.
Are we still in a drought?
No, we're not anymore.
We've been in that.
Yeah.
That drought was big news.
Yeah. But now we're in floods. That's kind of the world works.
Yeah.
So.
Barton Creek.
Yeah. So I pretty much stated just the basic facts. Here's the Austin Environmental Health Services Division. What do you offhand think about this? I mean,
well, what are you asking?
Do you think that this is terroristic? What's going on against this gentleman?
Well, I really don't understand the whole picture of what's going on. But you mentioned something about the lawn.
Yeah.
Are you asking me whether I think the lawn needs to be mowed?
Well, is that the city's job? There's the lawn right there. Nothing.
I could understand. I mean, if this was being a hindrance to me as a biker or me as a pedestrian, but I don't really see an obstruction.
But
so,
there is no obstruction. There's 3-inch grass right here.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It would be the city's responsibility if it was an obstruction to me, but it's not. In other words, if I have a tree hanging out of my property onto the alley or onto the street, then it's the city's responsibility.
Yes, it's the city.
But if you're asking me whether I think this lawn needs to be mowed, I don't think it needs to be mowed.
Well, but this is a bigger question. Why is he, while people are having their throats slit and there's carjackings and every myriad of violent crime, why is the city so obsessed with harassing him? Because he's a property owner.
I don't know. Have you asked the city?
Yeah, they will not return his calls. They say, no, we're gangsters. Don Corleone's told you one time, give us the money or clean up. So you're his neighbor, and you look like a nice gentleman, and you've got grass that's higher than Mr. Ellingson's. Have you been sent harassing letters from the city?
No, but I'd like to get one.
You'd like to get one. What would you do if they sent you a letter saying, cut your grass and remove objectionable material, whatever that means, or we will put a privilege lien against your home?
I'd have a good response for that.
Oh, what would you say?
You
tell them to go to hell?
I'd tear them up.
You tell them to blow it out their ass. Oh, excuse me.
Sure.
I mean, this is America, man. Let's get one quick shot, not of his car, but of the right wing yard that hasn't been cut in a couple of weeks.
Oh, God.
Look at that. So why do you think this is happening? You said that your yard guy has been out of town for a few weeks.
Well, we had one, and I guess he's not doing it anymore. You can see
And there's no neighborhood group around here, is there?
No.
So they have no this is your home.
Yes.
I got news for you. If you don't pay property taxes, they'll take it from you.
Well, we lease it. So.
No, I understand, but the people that own this don't pay all the taxes. It'll be taken. We are in a feudal system now.
Have it.
Hey, it was good meeting you, Surf. I'm Surf Jones. I'm Surf Jones.
Okay.
Thanks a lot. The right-wing evil one. Look at him, watering that overgrown grass. Number one, he's hurting Mother Earth by using water. Number two, he's causing an evil demon problem. We've got to take his property, too. I'm sure there's a bureaucrat that would enjoy that nice home. Maybe that car, too. We'll get rid of that, and only government agents will be allowed to have cars. That's what Carol Browner wants. Oh, and barbecues. Don't exaggerate. She only wants to ban them in some cities. I'm here with Charles Roland Ellington over here in central Austin, right off Guadalupe Street. And he lives at 407B West 37th Street, Austin, Texas, 78705. And thank God people like him are still willing to stand up. Now, I was shocked when I met Mr. Ellington at a Patriot meeting talking about lower taxes and less government regulation, you know, bad things like that. And later he faxed me some information that the city is harassing him, the Austin Health and Human Services Travis County Health Department, Environmental Health Services Division. So before I talked about it on my radio show and my cable television shows, I went ahead and drove by without him knowing, and I literally fell out of my car almost when I saw it. There's nothing. There's a nice, you know, normal Ford pickup truck. There is a arborist cutting trailer for people's livelihood. And here in this neighborhood, I am just shocked by the simple fact that I looked at some of the neighbors' houses, but they all have good Clinton Gore stickers and things. I shouldn't knock the neighbors. They have piles of junk in their backyard. We went in his backyard, and there's nothing but a stack of lumber covered with a tarp. This is his private property. This is America, and I want you to film the grass here. There's nothing wrong with this grass. It's zero-scape grass. That's what the environmentalists beg us to do. It's cut. It's clean. There's no problem. It's you know, it's not some millionaire's home, but it's a nice central Austin home that I would be proud to live in. I really like the way these neighborhoods look. So that's what we're talking about today. We're talking about how there is selective enforcement. And then I was shocked to find out that Mr. Ellington, Mr. Charles Roland Ellington, has in the past gotten onto the city about some of its out-of-control spending and has been an involved citizen. And so that's something that I find to be very shocking. Mr. Ellington? Elling's son. I really appreciate you having the will to stand up to what they're doing. How did this all start? And in your opinion, why are they doing this?
Well, it's long. In the early 80s, the city of Austin took upon itself to fund the communist programs of the murder called abortion, and the splinter groups, the homosexual groups, having special rights. And if you'll note that the expansion in the blue pages will give you the blues by the volume of increasing phone numbers supplied for city services.
That means harassment, extortion centers.
That's about the size of the matter.
So you exercise your constitutional right. You've gone to city council. You've written letters. You've made phone calls, and now you're being singled out and being harassed for no reason.
That does seem to be, cause and effect reason. It does seem to be prudent.
Well, we're not going to invade the privacy of inside your home, but I was just inside there with you, and you also have a rental property here. Your home and another home behind. It's very shocking to me that it's a very nice place, no big deal, almost like a little country house. How long have you lived here?
Since May of 1947.
How dare you, you evil carpetbagger. We've got to get you under control.
Well, see, I'm a grandfather clause before this city usurpation of micromanagement, the cockroach syndrome. The cockroach syndrome of micromanaging all facets of a citizen's life. And that's not American. That is un-American.
Well, how dare you be a hard-working arborist and a person that's engaged in other... I mean, that's just... How dare you?
A bourgeois member. A member of the bourgeoisie.
That's right. Yeah, you're out of control. We've got to stop you. We've got to... So, this little loving letter right here, I'll just read part of it. Austin Health and Human Services, Travis County Health Department, Environmental Human Services. That's gangsters calling themselves service agents. 15th Waller Street, Austin, Texas, 78702. If you want to get in touch with them, we'll put up their number during the show. You want to call and tell them how much you appreciate them harassing older, hardworking citizens here in town. Their phone number's 469-2015. That's 469-2015. And their fax is 469-2030, and we'll give that out later. Now, it says, this is an inform you that a condition in violation of ordinance or state law exists on property located at 407 West 37th Street. and you've said you're a tough guy, you're willing, you don't mind people knowing where you live. If they want to come by and see the evil property that you live on, see, I came by before you, when you first faxed me this, and you told me that since then you raked up a few leaves. That's all you've done to straighten up the property, and it's still shocking to me. It's your property. That's not the argument. You should be able to do what you want on your property unless you've signed a homeowner's clause. And as far as I know, over here on 37th, there is no homeowner's clause, is there?
To my knowledge, I don't recall one.
Well, again, sir, how much have you been involved in politics? Why are they singling you out for selective enforcement, as we know the socialists do?
My verbal voice sounds like a frog down at a deep well, and it carries so well they remember it. And gentlemen, the caller ID negates many phone calls where politicians can refuse to answer their phone when your line rings them. Did we know that?
Yes.
They hide under their rocks. Now that's the point of order, because our 49th district, Mr. Elliot Naystat, cannot be contacted me by phone. So I had to go to Mr. Terry Keel's office and relay the situation, so Mr. Keel is apprised of the situation.
But he hasn't done anything.
No, sir, not to my knowledge.
Well, he's got more important things, like becoming the governor in the next, 10 years or so. Okay, now, so you're saying that the politicians harass people with their servants, with their ticket agencies, with their police force, forcing the police to do jobs that they were never meant to do. That's why suicide's so high in police officers, because a lot of them are good people and are tired of harassing good citizens. So you're saying they're hiding behind their receptionist while they go out and abuse the citizens?
That is a good synopsis of my assessment of what they're up to. I mean, up to. And that's derogatory, of course, but they're into criminality, and they're hiding it. It's covert, so they need to be exposed.
Now, wait a minute. This is for our best interest. You trimming trees and working hard here in town?
Actually, it's my renter.
Yes.
It's the arborist.
Yes.
I'm quasi-retired and live off of rental and sale of bourgeois property that was once the family's.
Yes. And you said that part of the problem is the arborist vehicle here.
Yes, it cost a fortune to go to the landfill and deposit the contents, a fortune nowadays, and it's going to get even higher, But he just can't go every day. So in other words, it would be an impediment upon his trade for him, to any other heavy restrictions to be placed on him about constantly going to the landfill, which costs a fortune, monetary, a debit out of his profits. So.
Well, that's really too bad, and again, I'm no friend of the city abusing people, and I just cannot believe that this is a quaint little house, and I don't see that anything's going on wrong here, and I'm just absolutely shocked that the city would write you a letter saying that you will mow high grass, weeds, and rubbish and trash and debris, and then it says objectionable material.
Yeah, that's arbitrary, ain't it?
Well,
arbitrary, is that not?
Well, that could be anything they want to. That could be anything in the world.
Arbitrary assessment on their part. They can call it anything they want to.
Well, again, and it says that the Texas Health and Safety Code constitute a privileged lien upon the land or premises upon which the work has been done. That means they can bulldoze your house like they did that one guy. That means they can push you off the land, take vehicles. In other words, it's for the children. It's very, very loving. Is that what you're saying?
Top.
Again, we'll get some more shots of this nice little central Austin neighborhood after we leave here, and we'll show how a lot of houses have evil morning glory growing on them. Whatever that kind of vine is that called English ivy?
I think so.
That evil English ivy growing over there. I saw your evil cats. You have a couple of cats.
Kitty cats. Kitty cats.
Kitty cats?
Kitty cats.
Are they? Why does a right-winger like you that deserves to have his house taken have cats? I thought only good-loving people.
But he's got a blue eye. She has got a blue eye, and the other one's regular cat's eye.
Yeah, pretty.
Albino.
Well, anyways, it's pretty, you know, again, that's why we are not the corrupt establishment media. We'll admit things. We'll talk about things. We just come out and do our stories. And the thing we find is that so many Americans are afraid to talk about things. And I think this is insane. People are getting their throats slit on the Greenbelt. Women are being raped all over the city. There's carjackings. There's all myriads of out-of-control behavior. But what do you see the bureaucrats instructing the police to do and the city services? To harass older Americans, to ticket people for ridiculous offenses, and just to basically harass the middle class, hard-working Americans, because, hey, it doesn't pay to harass criminals. In fact, criminals are fixing to be on the team. Clinton and his 93 crime bill, and now it's being instituted, or they're going to start hiring gang members for mop-up crews, ex-gang members in the inner cities. I think somebody else did that in Germany, didn't they?
Yes, they did. Hitler had many, many programs which are replicated in the United States of America at the current date.
Like taking all the guns away.
That is prerequisite for the communist and other. Communism is a blanket covering all kinds of criminal activity and hatefulness to the society in which you were reared. Meaning, you're a dog that bites the hand of what fed you. And that's these politicians. They've been hatched in America.
No. Communism never existed. It didn't take over half the world.
Well,
it hasn't.
Nazism was a branch of communism. It was perverse.
No, it was fascism. You're right. It was socialism.
It was perverse.
You're right. Perverse. Nazi means National Socialist. Yes. But again, we're a better brand than America now.
Oh, we're Americans. Nothing bad can happen to us, don't you know? We're Americans.
That's right. That's right. Everything's fine. Well, anyways, folks, what you've seen here is some of the shocking information. The city is threatening to put a lien on this man's property. So pretty much what's going on is Mr. Ellingson is being harassed by the city. There's real crime going on all over the place. And when you talk to him on the phone, what exactly, or have you ever even gotten a hold of them? Did they come out here, or how do they even know that you're this great evil in town?
I don't know how they scrutinized the place and looked it over to administer that edict there, issued on the 16th of July of 1997, that I was in violation of state and city ordinances and regulations. That's not good, gentlemen. It's not good.
I mean, even in feudal Europe, serfdom. Yeah. I mean, people could at least have their own little place. Wouldn't be harassed usually.
Serfdom is what we've got here. I'm an indentured serf to taxations, but that's another time and another story.
Well, they want more. Yeah, they. I mean, 52% isn't enough for them. Well, again, I appreciate you having the courage to talk about what's going on in the city. A lot of people are going to say, well, if he did have high grass, he should cut it. Again, I don't even see any high grass here, folks. I mean, this grass hasn't even been cut. It's in a while, but it's real short. It's not a big deal, and I'm pretty much shocked by the way they're acting and they're behaving. But then I had some people call in on one of my shows, and I was defending you last week on my radio program. And they said to me, well, if he has high grass, insects could breed. I don't see any insects. Your cats, I didn't see them scratching over there. They look pretty happy. And again, that's not the city's business anyways. But in a minute, we're going to go up and we're going to film city parks with super high grass, other people's homes, government buildings with high grass around them. Why is it that they never worry about themselves? Why is it that the city's always concerned with the little citizens? Something that really tipped me off to this is my grandparents, I guess 6, 8 months ago now, got a letter, and it said, and they have a really nice big backyard that I happen to mow just for extra money and just for something to do. I like to mow yards. I don't mow a lot of them, but I mow theirs. And I went over one Sunday to have dinner with them, and my grandfather said, look at this letter. We're supposed to clean out the creek behind our house, or the city will fine us or put a lien on us. And I said, Granddaddy, that's ridiculous. And he's a well-off guy. He didn't understand. He was shocked. And the letter said, it was one quite like this from the city Environmental Health Services Division. And it said, but it was a bigger letter, it said, you need to get together with your community and clean out the drainage ditch that feeds into the creek behind your house. This wasn't even his property. Had nothing to do with him. So I jumped over the fence and threw about 10 or 15 sticks and logs, not too big, out of the way, onto the grass back in the creek area. This isn't even my grandparents' property. So the city raises our taxes, creates all these new bureaucracies, and then wants to have us for slave labor to go out and do their work for them. So what we've got here in Austin, Texas, what's gone on with my grandparents and countless other people, it's just the start of more and more of this. No longer is it enough just to tax people at over half of what they earn in some form of taxation. Now the government realizes that we are beginning to understand that this isn't for the people. This is for elitist groups, banks. The money's literally being sucked out of this country to New York, to London, to the Bundesbank in Germany. And it's a fact, $360 billion worth in 1996, just in foreign interest payments. They're harassing the citizens, and this is only the beginning. Bureaucrats are feverish, are hungry to control your life. And they desperately want more control because, like all parasites, they don't like to work. They like to force you and live off what you do. That's the stock and way of their trade. And Charles Roland Ellingson, I really appreciate, again, I've told you this 3 or 4 times, but I do appreciate what you've done, how you're standing up against this ridiculous behavior. And how did you describe the tax system here in Austin and how there's a, the huge city budget?
Well, it's a one-horse town with $1 billion and nearly $1.5 billion with a B, $1.5 billion budget. Where's the money going? It's not going for police. It's not going for street repair. It's going for socialistic, communistic programs, which are detrimental to the continuation of any organized society that has any goals of having any justice whatsoever. There's no justice in them.
So you're saying that there is no common law, basic rule of law. There is no more a man's home is a castle, a woman's home is her castle, is her palace. There is no more basic rudimentary, get off my back, I'm a human being. There is only the group collective for the children. We must harass older Americans. We must find them and bully them into giving us payments and cleaning out creeks that aren't even theirs. And Bill Clinton and Colin Powell get up on TV and tell us we've got to volunteer like AmeriCorps. You want money from the government for college? Well, guess what? You're going to volunteer for 5-6 years. Well, what does that mean? That's not volunteering. That's the government puts you through school, and by the way, when you get out, you go to the collectivist farms, just like in Russia. I mean, that's what we've got is a techno-slavery feudal system. Now, just in closing, why do you think the city is so willing to squeeze and abuse its citizens?
It's like the mountain climber. Why do you do it? Because it's there.
That's right. They can abuse you. They can get together. They control the press. The press is there, always a partner of corruption.
Oh, yes. That's the collusive conspiracy in the matter. That's criminality, ladies and gentlemen. That's criminality.
But there's no such thing as conspiracy. Well, then why is there conspiracy to commit murder? Conspiracy to defraud the taxpayers? We've heard that word. There's 1,000 charges of conspiracy because conspiracy's real. Why have they taught us, the little serf, to go, nothing has any reason to it. It just magically happens. I just magically get bills in the mail and I have to pay them and the city says I have to do it. And then nobody's there to stand up for us. The universities tell us to lay down and romanticize the criminality of this society. Well, again, Mr. Ellingson, I appreciate what you've done, and I'm going to go out and I'm going to film the Austin Health and Human Services, Travis County, fly on my nose, Austin Health and Human Services, Travis County Health Department, Environmental Health Services Division, 15 Waller Street, Austin, Texas, 78702. We're going to go see where just one little sector of, one little covey of terrorists live. And it makes me sick how so many of these so-called environmentalists and people get on board. They need to go out and harass the golf courses or the whatever that are dumping fertilizer in the water, which still isn't that big of a deal. Why are they harassing you? I'm very angry about this, and we're also going to go out and show how the city is harassing people all over the place, and we're also going to show how they have high grass all over the parks and things. 10 times higher than the grass is on your property. I don't see any high grass, and again, that's your business if you have high grass. But of course, somebody's going to call the show tonight and say, we've got rules, we've got to follow rules, it's for the environment, it's for the children, we've got to have order. You could be having insects breeding on your land.
Well, the point is that in Russia, the Nazis that held the concentration camps and the crematoriums, I was just following orders, will not get it. Will not, and that's why Michael knew, as a barb against the president's
the globalist.
PDD's presidential decision directives, that Michael New stood up and says, I swore to the Constitution of the United States and not the charter of the blasted communist United Nations.
Communism is real. It is a pseudo-political term to rationalize corruption. But they don't even call it communism. They call it the future. They call it elegant understanding. And they are sucking out the money of all the industrialized nations. They are destroying and raping the third world nations and creating slums that revel hell itself. So now, without further ado, we're going to go out and film some of the loving little agencies around town that are engaged in shaking down the citizens. We just showed you that huge 6-inch deep pothole. There's a whole bunch of little potholes, one there, one here. But again, the city's busy harassing nice citizens. And then I remembered something. My mother, years ago, me and her came down here to see the Christmas tree lights. This is the street. I had totally forgotten that 37th Street here in Austin, Texas, is the street right off Guadalupe where they have the Christmas tree lights that everybody likes to come see so much. And I don't know if you can see it out here, but there's Christmas tree lights hanging from the trees and all over the place. And over there, there's a whole bunch of Christmas tree lights. These citizens have been harassed before. So, my gosh, this neighborhood is literally under siege from weirdos. Okay, that's what's going on. So now let's go and see the rest of the city. Out here in Austin, we're seeing some incredible things. The neighbors are all coming out and are infuriated, not at us, but with what the city's doing. And they say they're always being pressured around here. What you've got is a typical good Austin community here. Some really nice houses, some run-down houses, some in-between houses. You know, they have their own Christmas tree lights. Christmas, everybody comes down here and checks it out. I didn't even notice it until we'd already gotten down here that I've come down here many times to see their lights. They've been harassed by the city on that. The city won't fix their potholes, and now they're harassing the elderly residents. And there's almost like a community meeting going on down here. Why don't you get that real fast? Well, it just broke up. 2 people there, another guy, a lady was out talking to him. 3 other people down the street are down there talking. They all come up to us. We show them the city letter from the Caring Environmental Health Services Division. And they get infuriated. Let's go to the heart of this problem that's abusing us. See, if people just know about the abuse, they get angry. Let's put on we are in Austin, Texas, and there it is. At a few businesses here in town, which I have no problem with. Look at them. They're engaged in right-wing behavior. Weeds on the road and cactuses and bushes too. Uncut, untrimmed, objectionable material. Why? We've got the city's little piece of paper right here. Objectionable, whatever they want to say. Oh, there's the park. Lots of tall, uncontrolled grass. Look, city property with wild weeds. Oh my gosh, we've got to take their property away. We've got to do it. Here we are at the loving, caring city. Austin Health and Human Services, Travis County Health Department, Environmental Health Services Division, down here on 15th Waller Street. And look at all the weeds over there. Look, it's worse than, much worse than Mr. Ellingson's ever was. I mean, look at it. Tall weeds all growing over there. He had morning glory and English ivy growing. They got some kind of weird crawling vine that's a weed. Oh, look right there. Oh, it's horrible. There's actually some weeds. Oh, 5-inch tall grass. No, down by that tree right there. Here, I'll roll down the window. You ready? Oh my God, look. Look, there's weeds around that tree and over there by that air conditioner. Over by that air conditioner, look, that's 6-inch grass. Oh, I'm going to take the city building if it doesn't fix it. We'll have to put a lien against the city building for Mr. Charles Ellingson. Oh, and look at that tree. Look at those weeds right here, producer. Oh my gosh. Oh, this is just the worst. Oh my gosh. Now, folks, I know this seems really stupid, doesn't it? What is the big deal about weeds growing? Much less on somebody's private property. Oh yes, the city's being well taken care of. Look how nice the city buildings are. Boy. Always built nice. You can always trust government buildings to be built nice. Yes, I don't see any flowers growing like there are at Mr. Ellingson's. Ah, yes. entrance in all different languages. It's America now. Oh, look. Here we are, 15th Waller Street, at the Health Building. Yes, this is where little terrorist activities are launched from in abusing the citizens of Austin, people that pay for their homes, like Mr. Ellingson, who's had his home since 1947, owns his home outright. They can't stand that. Look right here. Isn't it? They really are doing a great job here. See, before we did this story, we just came out here. We've never been here before. But somehow we knew that it would be in disrepair and there'd be weeds everywhere. Look right here. Look at this. Weird plants just growing wild. Now, I don't have a problem with that. But why are they harassing this old man that's got 3-foot grass? And no, I mean, it's a nice old home in central Austin. Look at it. But it's this power. Look at those bureaucrat notebooks and things up there. Think of all the wonderful harassment that goes out of this little mobster building. Little gangster building. Yes, capital city. Nobody does it like the capital city with our over $1 billion budget. Check it out, folks. Look all around you. Everywhere you see it. That grass is higher than Mr. Ellington's. Look at it. Scraggly trees, scraggly grass over there. And no, I don't think this is even a big deal, folks, this rundown city building. Isn't that incredible? Look at this. Well, that's enough of that, folks. We've seen the love of the government. Nothing like big city kickback construction. Like in wonderful Chicago, that's the firm, CNH firm from out of Chicago says we need to expand $84 million in our convention center. Yes, and I'm sure it'll be built just like this. Total garbage, total BS. Look at city buildings falling apart. It's only a 20-year-old building. And look over there at the rubble, and they're harassing citizens for having 3-inch grass. That's the most pathetic thing I ever heard of in my life. And look over there, more weeds. What hypocritical behavior. See, what is good for the goose isn't necessarily good for the gander. Because the fact of the matter is this is just a collection site for the big corrupt international banks that are sucking this country dry. Oh, and look over there, more evil right-wing weeds. I guess they're loving. This is a government building. Loving. It's loving of its government. It's right-wing, evil blood drinking if it's for lower taxes and more personal freedom. Right over there, look at the tires. Oh, that's an environmental hazard. And there's weeds and there's metal that could cut children. Children could play and get hurt in that. Wiring and metal. Children could be hurt. Now, folks, let's go on over here and let's see the back of the building. Let's see them there. Here in the Big Brother Center at 15th Waller Street in this decaying federal building with weeds and bugs hopping around everywhere, 100 times worse. I mean, look at all that stuffing in. Look up there in the building, all those bureaucrat files they've got on us, all the harassment and kickbacks that go on. Lord knows the glee that's engaged in. And business is always booming. There's always an expanding populace of serfs to squeeze and drive them into utter submission. Yes, that's kind of their view on things. Oh, but look, there always is a silver lining in every cloud. There's a little birdie living in the government building, so I guess it's okay. It's for the children. Look at this government building. Why, if you zoom in right there, you can see the insulation made out of fiberglass. That is bad for the environment. If you left that in your backyard, you'd probably get a fine from the city for several $100s or maybe another privileged lien. Yes, environmentalism for you, not for them. Loving tires, but that's not a big deal. Look at the fiberglass and metal, garbage and filters, asbestos probably. Oh, it's so right-wing. Yeah, folks, that's what it's all about. I should quit being sarcastic. It's all a double standard. How did we know? I said, let's go out there. And so here we are, folks, at the health department, the loving health department. And it looks like this place hasn't seen any health for a long time. It's decrepit, it's falling apart, it's potholed and ring-marked. It looks like a third world country. And that's what they wish for all of us. That's what they're into. That's what they thrive on, is dependency and degeneracy. And here we are, here in Austin, Texas. What harassers. How pathetic. I would suggest y'all give them a call this week and raise some hell. It's time they learn we don't want to put up with their big government BS anymore. And here's a message to our new mayor. We don't want your new convention center for $84 million, buddy. Well, here in this letter that I've been referring to so many times from the Austin Health and Human Services Environmental Health Services Division, they say you will please remove and clear high grass, rubbish, trash, debris, and all objectionable material. Well, I want them to remove this trash that fire ants are breeding on, and I want them to remove this trash that fire ants are living all over, and I want them to clean up all these evil cigarette butts that the right-wingers are trying to sell our children, and I want them to remove all other objectionable material. Why? Why? Well, objectionable is objectionable. Look at it. Objectionable. I find that bird to be objectionable. Look, those birds over there, I find those to be objectionable. What is objectionable? It's all these open-ended bureaucrat harassment terms, whatever they can get away with. Well, it's hard to hear me over this high-powered air conditioner. They don't want us to have air conditioners, but don't worry, the bureaucrats will. Look at this tall grass. Total hypocrisy, folks. Total hypocrisy. But that's the name of the game. Mike. Folks, the real fact of the matter is, I don't think it's a big deal that there's tall grass over here. That's the point. The city are a bunch of criminal, out-of-control bureaucrats that are squeezing this city into serious problems. That's why so much of the city is growing now outside in Round Rock and places where they have lower taxes. Look right here. Total hypocritic behavior. It's totally hypocritical. Look at that big weed over there. And I love sunflowers. I'm not knocking that, but Mr. Ellingson didn't have anything like that on his property. I don't know what's going on here, but it's better stop.
I love Mike Hanson Archives.
Get ready to run. Here we are at a council member's house, home, down here in Austin. And I'm not going to tell you their address or who they are, but you ought to see how overgrown their house is. I mean, this is just ridiculous. Very nice little neighborhood over there, I will tell you. But it's just crazy. We'll just wait till you see how overgrown it is. Hell, look at that house. That's more overgrown. Look, that's not the council member's house, but look, that's more overgrown than Mr. Ellingson's. It's crazy. I think it makes me the maddest is how the paper countered with that story. We came out and did a story about Mr. Ellingson being harassed by the health department and environmental services, and 2 days later there was a front page thing on the health department saying how wonderful they are, stopping crime, sewage, and helping the children in East Austin. Why, everything health department did it. Here we are, folks, the right-wing evil. Look at it. This is a council member. Now, we should probably slap up some footage later of Mr. Ellingson's and show you that this is 10 times more overgrown than his property. Selective enforcement. Selective enforcement. And we're not attacking this council member. We're just saying, hey, maybe they should know about the hypocrisy in the city that they run, that we've elected them to protect us from their own minions. Even the driveway's overgrown. I mean, look at that. And folks, the camera can't even catch what's going on in this yard. And it's not our business. We don't care. I don't think it's a problem. But the statesman does. The health department does. They agree. $2,000 a day fines for non-compliance. Better take their home. Better bulldoze it. Out of control. Out of control. Well, as you can see, total hypocrisy at its best. Absolutely out of control. I think I ought to go up there.
Again, we're not going to tell you the address down here of this council member. We're not going to tell you who she is. But just for yourself, take a look at the hypocrisy. Much worse than Mr. Ellingson. And it isn't a question of has she done something wrong. She hasn't done something wrong. But she needs to know what her city's doing, what the City Health and Human Services Environmental Services Division is doing. And the Austin Station's really been covering up the story that we did. It's wrong. Something needs to be done. As the sun sets here in South Austin, hypocrisy still continues. And hypocrisy is dangerous because fire is the outcome of his total hypocrisy. And we will edit this in the name of Kriegewald. Whoa, boy, yeah, folks. As the sun sets here on Austin Highland Boulevard, we see the total hypocrisy. You don't see the health department out here in this tangled jungle with a tarp to keep the water out of the roof. The neighbors have verified this is a council member's home. They own both the houses here, and they're both in total disrepair and overgrown. So that's the hypocrisy of America now here, folks. And I think the council member needs to answer up why they're allowing the health department to go around terrorizing citizens in the name of environmentalism at $2,000 a day fines in non-compliance. I mean, that's so $2,000 a day for non-compliance. There's mosquitoes swarming the area. I've been bit on the back of the neck and on the forehead. There's just big, huge gobs of bushes all over the place. And this is just incredible to see. I mean, that's what it is. What else can it be but total hypocrisy? And again, we're not attacking the council member. We just got a tip from one of our viewers, one of our many spies spread around town. Faxed us information. We came over, asked two neighbors. This is where the council member lives. She's not coming out right now, I guess. I'm sure the police are on their way, but that doesn't matter. We're law-abiding citizens out here bringing you real news. See, what's good for the goose is not necessarily good for the gander. That's enough. Film the, well, we're not going to tell you whose homes these are that this person owns both of, with the tarps and the leaking roof and the jungle. You can't even see the front door. 100 times worse than Mr. Ellingson's. But again, I'd say it's her right to do that in her home. She's not in a homeowner's community, you know, where you assign a clause. This will just give you a hint, though, who the council member is. You know, they're in public office. We should be able to tell you about it. Yeah, it looks like a jungle. In fact, I think I saw a great macaw parrot flying around in there or something. Oh, Lord. When are we going to get some peace from these bureaucrats? Compare this house to the council member's house right here. Incredible. Look at that. It's a Tarzan would be at home here. And again, we're not saying it's a problem. We're not saying anything should happen. But the health department is trying to use Austin citizens for slave labor to clean out city parks, city creeks that are on the borders of other people's homes. It's got to stop. Now compare this to Mr. Ellingson's home. In a few minutes, we'll show you a shot of that. And remember, he was threatened with $2,000 a day fine if he did not remove objectionable material, whatever that could be. I'm not sure, but it sounds very Gestapo-esque and open-ended, like bureaucrats like. Hi, I'm Alex Jones, here in the Amazon River Basin. No, I'm sorry, I mean a council member's home. And to be absolutely serious with everybody, we had a lot of neighbors come out and ask us what we were doing, and once we told them, they said, yes, it is ridiculous that the health department is out terrorizing people, and they did point out the incredible hypocrisy of the council member's home having the tarp over the roof and the vines and the jungle hanging out of the trees. But again, this is for your best interest, for the children. Tarzan and cheetah. Look at them happily living on top of the roof. Yeah, I think the health department needs to give a visit over here. Very nice, quaint little neighborhood. Most of the homes are very, very clean cut and very pretty. And again, that's their own prerogative how their yard looks. But it's funny. From the health department to the council member's home down the street, they always have the most overgrown, from their homes to their bureaucratic offices. I mean, last week y'all saw the health department falling down walls, garbage, trash, junk, fire ants, 6-foot weeds, 6-inch grass everywhere. And again, I didn't go out there stirring up trouble with them. It's them harassing the citizens. So remember that. Bureaucrats at their homes, king bureaucrats like the council members, and then on down to their money collection sites like the City Health Department on 15 Waller Street are absolute pits. Because they really don't care about things being nice. They care about
an easy ride, taking some of your hard-earned money, and telling you how to live, and ushering in their wonderful utopia. Now back to the Jeff Davis Show. Get a shot of that. Get a shot of that. Speak out against evil now or submit in silence later. Yeah, but it's so fashionable not to speak out nowadays.
We have a organization. It's only here in Gonzales. Somebody's trying to get by. Go back a little bit. We have an organization here, a nonprofit organization. It's Gonzales Association of Patriots. But every month we do something really good for some lucky person or people. And when we had the hurricane down there, boy, did we, that was a lot of money. We usually don't go out of Gonzales, but that was a little bit, to see those people in the trailer parks and stuff really hurting and stuff, we went down there and helped them.
Okay.
And but we're going to help a real nice elderly lady. She barely makes her bills, Peggy, so I know she's going to be appreciative of the $100 that we're going to give her. And so let's go over and surprise her. We've already mowed her yard, so she'll probably tell you thank you about that. But then we're going to surprise her.
Okay, great.
Here's what you're getting this month.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Right there. It's awarded by, because I know you need help with your food and everything else. So that's from the Gonzales Association of Patriots. We always try to do something good for somebody every single month. We try to.
I love you, Mike.
Great.
I love everybody. Thank you. Thank
there you go.
Everybody.
Buy what you want with it. Buy you something nice once in a while.
I love you, Mike.
Yeah.
God bless you.
You know, people donate money to us, and that's how we get this money.
Thank you.
So if anybody, wants to know more about our organization, we're here in Gonzales, Texas at P.O. Box 481.
Thank y'all very much, and God bless everybody that helps people around that are in need. God bless y'all.
Okay, we'll see you next time,
Que
Peggy.
pase buen día, señora.
Gracias.
The mainstream media here in town, that is the main affiliates and things, haven't done any investigative reporting in a long time. And they need to. But you see, they've got an easy ride, plenty of advertisers, and no problem. So why should they stand up against big city government out of control? The story you're about to see is not vindictive, but it is a council member's home here in Austin, Texas. We won't tell you her name. We're not out to make her feel bad. We're out for a little wake-up call for the city council and let them see how it is to have people come unannounced for no reason and pry into their lives. But don't worry, we're not going to try to put a $2,000 fine a day on her house for her grass being uncut. Why? We're not even going to try to fine her, because we don't have the power, but we wouldn't anyways, for the 15, 20-foot vines that hang out of the trees and run across the ground and the broken down truck in her yard. And we also found out from the neighbors next door that she owns the rent house right across the street from her house with a tarp on the roof. And you'll see some footage of that. Yes, holes in the roof, a veritable jungle around the area. And there hasn't been any health department out there. That is the problem, is hypocrisy here in town. I'll also show you Mr. Ellingson's property. Mr. Ellingson did zero. He has 3-inch grass, English ivy growing on the trees, just like this council member does. But his house isn't 1/10 as overgrown as hers. But this isn't the story. The story is this isn't the city's job to pry in people's life. And also, this Thursday, the Austin American Statesman did a story 3 days after, or less than 3 days after, we aired the original story about Mr. Ellingson being harassed by the City Health Department and Environmental Services Division. Less than 2 days after, they did a front-page article saying it was because of crime and high weeds and the $2,000 a day fines must be levied against people's homes and the liens against homes must be done. That's fine. They need to go out and check the council members' homes and put levies against their houses then. You see, folks, it's time that you give your council members a call. It's time you raise hell and say, deal with the murderers first, deal with the carjackers and the rapists and the fondlers before you go around harassing others. And then a little bit later, we'll show you some shots again of Mr. Ellingson's home, and you'll just be shocked to see the difference between his home and then this council member's home. Holes in roofs, tarps on her property, and then the house she lives in across the street, it looks like Tarzan's fixing to come swinging through the trees in any second. So again, this is not vindictive. This is us trying to wake people up in Austin to see that there's double standards. I mean, what is the deal here? If you go down and you check out the health department and environmental services on 15th Waller Street, I heard they cleaned it up now, but when we went down that Sunday before Monday when we did the story, there was falling down walls, there was 6-foot weeds, there was 6-inch grass everywhere, trash, cigarette butts, fire ant beds. I'm not down there harassing them. I'm just going and showing you the fact. I'm not levying fines on the people that work there, not even trying to, like they do to normal citizens. And then to see the paper jump in and defend them and make up lies for them and say sewage, children, crime goes up, East Austin. See, all these little buzzwords, folks, that's what it's all about, getting you off target, making excuses for hypocrisy. That is the essence of hypocrisy and bureaucracy out of control. And also the neighbors came up to us when we went out to this council member's neighborhood, and they said over and over, yeah, we don't know, we have nothing against her, but that's ridiculous. Her rent house across the street that she rents out has a blue tarp on the roof, and we'll show you a cut of that, and it looks like a jungle, can't even see the front door. Criminals could hide in there, just like the statesman said, last Thursday. And then you actually see her home, and it's just atrocious. And there are mosquitoes flying around everywhere. But I say leave her alone. Let the council member live her life. Council member, when you hear about this, please understand we're not attacking you. We're not being vindictive. Please, repeat, please call the health department and tell them to get off people's back. Make sure there's not cockroaches in our food at restaurants. Make sure that things like that are being done. Stop, but I understand you want to shake people down, health department. There's a lot of money in these $2,000 a day fines and liens on houses. You've taken quite a few houses, haven't you? Especially from older Americans who are sometimes a little, not too sharp. Yeah, that's your policy, isn't it? Making people clean up creeks and in subdivisions behind their homes that they don't even own. Yeah, like my grandparents.
It is the best and most comprehensive book on Bohemian Grove, and it's written by Mike Hanson, my old camera guy. Mike Hanson Archives.
Well, I'm here with Mr. Ellingson again real fast, and he came up and said, hey guys, I know you're going to talk about this. He came in and he's got right here the Communist Manifesto, and number 1 is abolition of property and land and application of all rents of land to public purposes. And that's what they're doing pretty much today in our country. And we've got to ask ourselves, this is not a conspiracy. This is not something we're making up. This is literally happening, and these communists that were funded and backed by big central bankers and industrialists from before the turn of this century, their plan is coming to fruition, and they are literally destroying the free market. And I could see that you've lived here, what, since 1947, you said?
May of that year.
May of 1947. And look at these nice trees. It's nice. It's pretty.
Real small when I first came.
And there's pretty English ivy growing here in the trees, and you've got a nice shield around your tree over there to keep it healthy. Boy, you're a right-winger. And I saw your pretty little cats earlier. I could see why the city really, really wants to get its hands on this property like they've done countless others.
Make a parking lot out of it, perhaps.
Oh yeah, or get some rent from a good liberal lawyer or something.
Yes, wouldn't that be nice of them?
Something loving.
Yeah.
Well, again, we've seen the right-wing evil. We've seen how much trouble you're causing. I'm sure them sending you these letters saying they'll put liens on your house if you don't comply with their terrorism, whatever that is. I'm sure we're going to all be safe. Women on the green belts will be safe. People in their cars will be safe from carjackers, all because they're harassing you.
Yes, I mean, it's fantastic. Things are backwards nowadays, as it was prophesied some time ago.
Well, the criminals run things, and they hate normal people.
In the last days, women will be your rulers, women will rule over you, and children will be your oppressors. That puts it right on the pulse of the matter, ladies and gentlemen. Women will rule over you, and children will be your oppressors.
Well, that's what Adolf Hitler said. He said, first you get the women, then you got the children, so follow the men. It's not women's fault. They're being targeted by the elitist, evil men that control things. And they're using them to enslave society.
Women are picking up speed. They've caught on pretty quick, though.
Oh, yeah.
The graft and corruption is not beyond them.
I got you. Well, thanks a lot, sir.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Alex. This is Mike Hanson from Mike Hanson Archives saying thanks for watching. And just a note on this story, this is one of my favorite stories that Alex has ever done. My favorite investigation that he's ever done. That and Joe Capana's story is two of my favorites. But I just wanted to say that a couple of years ago, I went by this house where Roland lived, and a younger Chinese girl answered the door. So all I could find out is that Mr. Ellingston passed away a couple of years ago, probably about 10 years ago now. This happened in 1997, and of course we're in 2022s now, so just want to let you know that's how the story ended. It ended up the house has been sold or either being rented by a yuppie now. So just like Joe Capana story, they did get the property after all, but Alex did a good job of while he was living to take up for him. It was a big story on TV and radio for at least a week here in Austin, Texas, back in 1997. Thank you, Alex, for everything you've done. Keep the good work up. All righty. We'll see you next time here on Mike Hanson Archives. God bless.